Hello, and welcome to Inflammation Solutions. My name is Corrine Lewis. I am certified in functional medicine, holistic nutrition, family herbalist, and intuitive eating. I have a degree in natural health sciences. One thing to know, I will never apologize for my passion for wellness and my desire for people to take their health seriously and make it a priority. I think this is something that's very undervalued, is our health and making the time for it. So let's get started with Inflammation Solutions. This is really a very important topic to share, and hopefully there will be information here to be very useful and helpful to you. So we're going to talk about what is inflammation, where is it in our bodies, what causes inflammation, how does inflammation affect our health, most importantly, right? And then the good stuff, the solutions. How do we get rid of it? How do we eliminate it from our bodies? So what is inflammation? Inflammation is the body's normal physiological response to tissue injury involving both local and systemic reactions. Tissue injury results from trauma, autoimmune, microbial, which is bacteria, heat and toxins, chemicals, and certainly stress. Stress is something else that I think is very undervalued in today's society that we really need to take a good look at and really identify what our stresses are and how we can reduce those as well. So inflammation manifests itself into capillary dilation, white blood cell infiltration, redness, pain, swelling, heat, and often loss of function. So what's the normal response versus chronic? Because there's definitely two here. So a normal inflammatory response maintains homeostasis. So this means our stable internal environment and allows for tissue healing in its own timing, like nature has its own timing. Chronic inflammation, though, leads to multiple organ dysfunctions of the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight. Our immune system protects our body, our endocrine system, which are our hormones, and gastrointestinal system, the gut, and vascular endothelium, our cardiovascular health. So when something happens in one system, it will automatically affect all the other major symptoms. There are no exceptions to this. So where is inflammation in our body? Where will we find it? Well, we can find it in a lot of different areas. If the condition ends in itis, its root is inflammation. There are actually over 125 clinical conditions have been caused by inflammation alone. And on the picture on the left-hand side, as you can see, inflammation is in the middle, and then you can see it manifesting itself into cancer, cardiovascular diseases, Alzheimer's, which is now known as diabetes 3, diabetes 2, arthritis. That's a big one for people, really at almost any age now. I would say even upward, downwards of your mid-20s, all the way up, people are noticing that they're having arthritis issues, which is really the root cause is inflammation. Autoimmune diseases, those are on the rise. It's rare to talk to someone today and not hear about an autoimmune issue going on. Neurological diseases and pulmonary diseases. So inflammation can manifest itself into anything. What are triggers of the immune response and inflammation? So I think we could definitely understand physical injury that would cause inflammation. That makes sense, right? Stress, non-physical, prescription medications and over-the-counter medications. Are we really looking at those as possibly causing inflammation in our bodies? Artificial preservatives and sweeteners. They're in just about most processed packaged foods that we would consume, and they're highly addictive. Certainly fast food process, where we really don't know what the individual ingredients are that are making up that food-like product. Excess animal products, we really are as a society over consuming animal products. Sugar, wheat, and gluten, those simple raw materials are in just about everything these days, including prescription medications. Leaky gut, intestinal hyperpermeability. This is huge. 70% of Americans have digestive symptoms and or related diseases. That is a very large percent of our society, 70%. Toxicity in our food, personal care products, cleaning products, and environmental. This is a big, big, big one. If you have heavy metal toxicity, you definitely are going to have inflammation in your body. And our bodies have a keen way of storing toxicity in fat tissues so that it can be hidden in your bodies really for years. So what are signs, symptoms of acute inflammation? Inflammation begins many, many months and even years before it becomes acute inflammation. So pay attention, it's really important. First, it'll start out as inflammation and then manifest itself into an illness. If that illness is not really properly taken care of, healed, nurtured, supported in the right way, then that illness can be chronic. If it becomes chronic, it will become a disease state. You have internal and external heat, internal and external pain. Again, leaky gut, if it's not taken care of, it can lead to autoimmune issues, redness, swelling, rashes, reflux. Those are all signs, symptoms of acute inflammation. So it's really important that we become more intentional with paying attention to our bodies and what our bodies are telling us on a daily basis. So here are some examples of chronic inflammation if it's left untreated. Heart disease, IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, constipation. If you are not having regular daily bowel movements, that is something that needs to be addressed immediately. That is very important. It is not normal not to have at least one bowel movement a day. Diarrhea, if you're having chronic diarrhea, means your body is not absorbing any of the nutrients that are going in it. That is something that definitely needs to be addressed immediately. Alzheimer's, also known as diabetes type 3 now, Parkinson's, ADD, depression, anxiety, autism, diabetes type 2, cancer, weight issues, aging, autoimmune issues, chronic infections, cancer, and so on. This little cartoon, she says, I went to the pain clinic, but now I hurt more. And he's like, well, duh, don't you think visiting a pain relief clinic would have been more sensible? And then they're like, hey, stop messing with her head. So let's go back to talking about stress, because I definitely feel that stress is something that is very undervalued, and it's something we just are told to deal with and push through it. Stress can have a profound impact on our health and not in a positive way. So would you ever think that stress could be broken down truly into 11 different categories? Let's look over the list and let's identify your total stress load to see where we can say no to some things in order to reduce the overall stress load. So category 1, emotional stress. 2, cognitive stress, meaning worry, uneasiness. Number 3, sensory stress, means pain. 4, structural stress, so joint flexibility, posture abnormalities. 5, metabolic stress, so this is nutritional, high blood sugar, insulin, cortisol levels, stress hormones. Toxic stress is our environment, whether it's in our home, outside of our home, it's our work environment. Unfortunately, many of them can include toxic chemicals. Infectious stress, so viral, candida, Lyme. This puts a huge stress load on the body. Immune stress, clearing food allergies, food sensitivities. Inflammatory, asthma, eczema, autoimmune. Endocrine neurotransmitter stress, so cell-to-cell communication can be out of balance. Number 10, purposelessness stress, so meaningless. 11, energetic stress. So cell phones, Wi-Fi, computers, microwave, all the things that have been designed to make our lives easier can actually be causing more stress on our bodies. So we must take steps to reduce our total stress loads through eating whole foods, daily exercise, restful sleep. This is another big one that's very undervalued. Daily meditation, whether that is in the form of prayer, quiet time. It's not always easy, but are necessary for our health. This is something we really need to take a look at, and I think at the end of each day, recap what the stress load was, and then work on quieting the mind, decompressing before we go to bed so that we can go to bed with a clean slate and allow our bodies the time to rest and recharge through the night of sleep and be able to get up the next day feeling a bit more rested and refreshed. So definite solutions, that's the key part here, right? How do we eliminate inflammation from our bodies? It is time to be intentional with our health on a daily basis. You can't do just one because it all goes together. So nourishing food. Food is the foundation of our health, and we always start with the gut first. The gut is housing 70% of your immune system and producing 95% of the serotonin in your body. The other 5% of serotonin is actually produced in your brain. And your gut is actually in constant communication with your brain, your central nervous system, through the vagus nerve. Your gut is known as a second brain, meaning that it can be taken outside of the body and it can function on its own. So gut health is where we start first, and we always look at food as the beginning. It is not our natural instinct to look at food as a root cause of inflammation, but the more processed fast foods that we are consuming, truly they are full of chemicals. We don't even know really what those chemicals are. So I always encourage, let's go back to the basics of whole foods. Let's take the time to meal prep and cook in our own homes. We'll actually be saving more money, and in the long run, we will be saving more time because we will have our health for that. Supplementation, I call this the backup support plan. And it's to me a form of health insurance, so to speak. But you always want to consult with your physician first before taking new supplementation. We want to make sure that that's the best fit for your individual needs at the time. So definitely check with your physician first. Lifestyle, this is huge. 95% is lifestyle, 5% is genetic factor. So you really have the power to change the way that your genes are expressed. What kind of life are you living? What do you practice daily for your personal well-being? Exercise daily, strengthen your cardiovascular health, stress reduce, better sleep, better emotional well-being. You certainly will increase your energy levels as well. Sometimes this can be one of the biggest challenges, most of all, is daily exercise. Because a lot of people will say, I just don't have the time. Well, that's the part where we've got to make the time, because this is a key part of our overall health as well. Eat a more plant-based diet. This is something becoming very foreign to people. 75 to 80% plant-based, which is very anti-inflammatory and full of micronutrients and fiber. There are many plant-based proteins, so don't worry about being protein deficient. Dr. Woodward will tell you, in all the years of practicing medicine and being an ER doctor, he has never once seen anyone who has been protein deficient. Some plant proteins to note, certainly soy products are a form of plant protein. I would say yield with some caution. If you're going to consume soy products, you want to make sure that their labels read organic, non-GMO. Lentils, chickpeas, hemp seeds, one of my favorites, chia seeds, another superfood. Peanuts, again, lead with caution as that is a highly sprayed crop. Almonds, spirulina, which is blue-green algae. Quinoa is actually a seed. It is not a grain. Beans and rice. Use caution with this in the means of don't overconsume, because they are wonderful source of protein and fiber, but they are also going to be very high in carbohydrates. Same with potatoes. Dark colored leafy greens, vegetables, broccoli, kale, mushrooms, these actually all contain plant proteins. So again, you don't have to worry about being protein deficient. Women only need about 46 grams of protein a day. Men just need an additional 10 at 56. No more than 25% lean animal protein. If there is a high risk for cancer, then we with integrative functional medicine would recommend no more than 10% of lean animal protein per day. Include servings of healthy fats, omega-3s, EPA, DHA in the forms of avocado, avocado oil, olive oil, MCT oil, coconut oil. Also hemp seeds and chia seeds and flax seeds, they also do contain omega-3 fatty acids. But there's a lot here that you can work with. MCT oil is derived from coconuts. If you had a coconut sensitivity that was pretty high, you could still use MCT oil without it causing an issue. This is an oil that you can use at high heat with sauteing, so it really works very well. Coconut oil is another one that you can also use at high heat. Avocado oil, from what I understand, it has no taste to it, so this is something that you could use as salad dressing along with olive oil for a base for salad dressing, or add to a smoothie, or even add on top of some food that you've made. So let's get into some nourishing anti-inflammatory foods, because what can we eat to help reduce inflammation in our bodies? Eat 35 servings of vegetables and fruits every week. That may sound like a very tall order, which it is, because that would become our focal point so in a 7-day period of time. So we're talking about at least 5 servings a day of, I always start with vegetables first, because we only need to consume 2 whole pieces of fruits a day. So some anti-inflammatory fruits would look like apples, apricots, avocados, berries, cherries, citrus fruits, cranberries, preferably unsweetened, cantaloupe, kiwi, goji berries, guavas, pineapple, and rhubarb. We would say, look more at your berries, because they're going to contain less natural fructose, and they certainly are full of antioxidants, phytochemicals. Vegetables, beet greens, bell peppers, bok choy, carrots, chards, collard greens, dark leafy green salads, not your iceberg lettuce, fennel bulb, green beans, green onions, kale, leeks, parsley, mushrooms, spinach, sweet potatoes, turnip greens, watercress, winter squash, and your microalgae like spirulina, chlorella, wild blue green algae. They all contain protein, omega-3s, beta-carotene, and GLA, fatty acids, and nucleic acid. So there is a large variety of fruits and vegetables that are very anti-inflammatory, which really we hope to become more of our focal point by eating more fruits and vegetables and consuming less animal protein and less processed fast food. So some nourishing anti-inflammatory foods, when we're looking at seeds and nuts, almonds, hazelnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, and walnuts are going to be more anti-inflammatory to consume. Anti-inflammatory herbs. Always consult with your doctor, practitioner first. One of my favorites is aloe vera, contains GLA. Reduces inflammation and blistering on burns. I think that's really what we know it more for. We would use it for burns, but it actually is very soothing to the gut lining. So drinking pure aloe vera juice can be very nourishing and supportive to the gut lining. Echinacea. I think we know this as a cold buster. Actually, it's known for king of blood purifiers, used for various infections like fevers, snake and insect bites, acne, boils, abscesses, and ulcers, vaginitis, prostatitis, prostate gland, even poison oak and ivy, respiratory infections, and then cold and flu prevention. Not to be used longer than 3 to 4 weeks at a time. I've seen some other articles where it says echinacea is fine to use long term. So just consult with your practitioner first. Garlic, this is a big one. Complex in its functions, but alters immune messages and quiets molecules that are trying to trigger inflammation. Ginger reduces inflammation, much like bromelain, which is contained in pineapple, reduces swelling and joint pain. This is one of my favorites from Chinese medicine. When I was training for my half marathons, gosh, by the time I was done running 10, 11, 12, 13 miles, my legs just felt like bricks when I got home. And what I would do is I would get a large pot of water, add either some fresh ginger to it or dried ginger, probably a good tablespoon or more of it, let it simmer in the water, turned it off, and then I would take a towel, a nice hand towel, and put it in the ginger water. It's going to be hot, so be careful with your hands, and then wring it out, leaving some moisture on there, and then I would wrap my legs and let it cool down. And I would tell you, within 20, 25 minutes, my legs felt really good, and I was able to go back outside and start doing yard work. So this really does work. I highly recommend it. It's very easy to do. It doesn't really cost you anything, but it can definitely help reduce joint pain, stiffness, swelling. Licorice, another one of my favorites. People either love it or they hate it though. Great detoxifier and a great peacemaker. The root actually contains many steroid-like chemicals related to adrenal and ovarian secretion. It's an anti-inflammatory and anti-arthritic herb. However, if you are on blood pressure medication, you will definitely need to consult your physician first because we don't want the licorice to interfere with your blood pressure medication. So if you're on blood pressure medication, please consult with your physician first before taking any supplements that contain licorice, even in a tea. Turmeric, I think we well known this as definitely anti-aging, anti-inflammatory. It is a member of the ginger family, lowers the level of messaging molecules that trigger inflammation, very beneficial for our bowel tissues as well. Spirulina, it's a blue-green algae, descendant of the oldest living plant life on Earth, rich in antioxidants and proteins, best green nutrient for your eyes. If you end up purchasing some spirulina in a powder form, because that's how you find it, you only need a very, very, very little amount to add to, I would say, a smoothie. It's very potent in its taste, very potent in its color. This makes a great green dye for Easter eggs in the springtime. So spirulina, I do like it, but it's very potent, so you only need to use a little bit of it. So what are some anti-inflammatory spices that we can benefit from and that we can use in the house, we can grow in our garden? Basil, one of my favorites, chili pepper, cinnamon, cloves, cocoa, oregano, mint, parsley, rosemary. So obviously we can't grow all of them in our garden, but we can grow quite a bit of them. And every year I grow basil, oregano, mint, parsley, rosemary. One of the reasons because I love how wonderful they smell, but also for their medicinal benefits. So more nourishing anti-inflammatory nutrients. So I had briefly talked about bromelain. It's an enzyme contained in pineapple. It works to block the production of molecules that want to trigger inflammation. Carotenoids are plant pigments, a class of phytonutrients, meaning plant chemicals, are found in the cells of a wide variety of plants, algae, and bacteria. They help plants absorb light energy for use in photosynthesis. Carotenoids are depleted from inflammation and must be replaced daily. They are cancer protective and heart protective antioxidant nutrients. So again, this leads us back to eating more plant-based foods. Flavonoids, contained in all citrus fruits and other foods, also reduce and counter inflammation like bromelain. GLA, gamma-linolenic acid, is a fatty acid naturally synthesized in a healthy body from linoleic acid. It is vital to our immune system, inflammatory conditions like eczema, arthritis, autoimmune diseases, heart and vascular diseases, brain function and nerve impulses, alleviates dry eye. And as we get older, a lot of people complain about having dry eye. Human growth regulates the action of insulin, multiple sclerosis, prostate problems, PMS, cystic mastitis, brittle nails, hyperactivity in children, metabolism booster, aloe vera, microalgae like spirulina, evening primrose, blackcurrant, and borage are all contain GLA naturally. What are some anti-inflammatory fish that we can consume that have good quality omega-3s? Well, we're looking at more cold water wild-caught fish like cod, herring, salmon, halibut, sardines, oysters, tuna, trout, striped bass, whitefish, and snapperfish. Essential fatty acids necessary for human health. Well, why are they essential? Well, it means because your body cannot make them. They must come from food or supplemental sources. We prefer that they come from food sources, but sometimes it's just not always possible. They're found in fish, algae plants, and nut oils, also known as polyunsaturated fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are huge for anti-inflammatory, plays a crucial role in brain function as well as normal growth and development. How much do we need daily? Well, the average is 2 to 3 grams daily. It all depends on what your body needs at the time. Omega-3 fish oil, 2 to 3 grams daily. Some people do need more than others. Adding good fats to decrease inflammation in the body, usually measured by CRP-HS, which is C-reactive protein high sensitivity. Low omega-3 risk. What happens if we're lower with our omega-3s? Inflammation. We're at a higher risk for heart disease and high cholesterol, digestive orders, meaning gut, allergies, arthritis, joint and muscle pain, mental disorders like depression, poor brain development, and cognitive decline. Well, what are the health benefits of adequate amounts of omega-3s? Well, number one, cardiovascular health by lowering blood pressure, cholesterol, plaque buildup in the arteries, and the chance of having a heart attack or stroke. Stabilizing blood sugar levels, preventing diabetes, reducing muscle, bone, and joint pain by lowering inflammation, helping balance cholesterol levels, improving mood and preventing depression, sharpening the mind and helping with concentration and learning, boosting immunity, treating digestive orders like ulcerative colitis, reducing risk for cancer and helping prevent cancer reoccurrence, improving appearance, especially our skin health. So more nourishing anti-inflammatory nutrients, magnesium. This is a big one. The center of chlorophyll helps to prevent osteoporosis, keeps bowel moving regularly. A lot of people will take magnesium at night because it's a natural muscle relaxer. So you hopefully are getting better sleep. It can decrease headaches by 50%, lowers blood pressure, and reduces cardiac arrhythmia. Chlorophyll counteracts inflammation, anemia, reduces high blood pressure, strengthens intestines, relieves nervousness, and acts as a mild diuretic. Choline, referred as the memory vitamin, neurotransmitter acetylcholine, valuable to nerve and muscle function and a member of the B vitamin. What are food sources? Dark leafy greens, nuts and seeds, figs, bananas, avocados, beans, lentils, fish, alfalfa, meat, eggs, and mushrooms. What are some nourishing anti-inflammatory amino acids? Amino acids play central roles both as building blocks of proteins and as intermediates in metabolism. Humans can produce 10 of the 20 amino acids. The others must be supplied in our foods. Glutamine is the preferred fuel to cell lining in the small intestine, muscle metabolism, and lowers levels of messaging molecules triggering inflammation. It is abundant in animal and vegetable proteins. Lysine, love lysine, helper to other molecules that help in lowering inflammation. Lysine is commonly found in anti-inflammatory supplements. If you're someone who gets cold sores, whether it's during the winter weather or whether you find it comes on during high stress times in your life. L-lysine is a wonderful amino acid to help ward off cold sores and to reduce the time that they can last, because they can last quite a long time. So L-lysine is one of my favorite amino acids to keep on hand. And if I feel like I'm going to be in a more stressful time period, I'll just begin taking one a day. If I have an outbreak with a cold sore, then I'll typically double up on my lysine to help lower the inflammation that's occurring with the cold sore. Just a little side note there. So what are you drinking? Hopefully you're drinking half of your body weight in ounces of water a day to stay well hydrated. But here are some soothing herbal teas as well that are anti-inflammatory. Licorice root, but again, if you are on high blood pressure medication, I would recommend not drinking licorice root. Try slippery elm, marshmallow root, raspberry leaf, flaxseed, or chamomile tea. Raspberry leaf tea is one of my favorites, not just because of the taste, but all that it offers. It's an overall well-being women's tea, but also this is another little flu buster. So by drinking several cups of raspberry leaf tea while having flu-like symptoms, it can really reduce the timing of flu. So that's a little side note there too. And slippery elm and marshmallow root, two more soothing teas and herbs to really soothe the gut. Okay. So what are some things that we can do to support our health and be more intentional? Really, we want to try and get more sleep. A lot of people, I think, actually laugh at that because they feel like, you know, when they get home from work, they have to do more work, or, you know, family is also a form of work. But getting sleep is really, really, really something that's very important. Your body needs that time to be able to reset and to recharge. Keep a food journal. Know what you're putting in your body. Go for a walk. I absolutely love going outside and walking. It's one of my favorite times. Eat more fruits and vegetables. We're just not consuming enough of the plant-based. Plate downsizing. Bigger is not better. So start out with a 9-inch plate instead of the 11-inch plate. Try one day and go meatless. I think sometimes we think that if we go meatless that we'll become protein deficient, and we know that that's not true. Get a workout buddy if you really are someone who prefers not to work out alone. Unplug and unwind from all electronic devices for some good old-fashioned self-care. What does your plan look like? We recommend writing down a plan every weekend for your week ahead. When you write out a plan, then you have something to put into action. We just can't keep it all in our heads. There's too much information going on in our heads to begin with. So each weekend, write out a written plan of what are you going to eat each day, when are you going to work out each day, and then have a backup plan to your original plan, because you never know what the day can bring. So plan for a better you to be able to execute. Goal setting for behavior change. You know, set some goals that are smart, be more specific, that are actually measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and timely. That way you're more inclined to be able to engage in them and to celebrate your progress along the way. These are just an FYI. You would want to avoid these only if you have a known ulcer. Some of you would want to avoid even on a good day, like fried foods, heated poor quality vegetable oils, reduce your overall consumption of red meats, citrus fruits, plums, alcohol, coffee, meaning caffeine, vinegar, chewing tobacco, excessive salt, black pepper and mustard, and hot spices like cinnamon and chili pepper. And again, the majority of these are to be avoided if you have an ulcer and a few of them that we would want to avoid, whether we had an ulcer or not. So does this information I shared with you actually really work? Well, I always enjoy sharing testimonials to show you that yes, the information I'm sharing with you can make a profound effect on your health. One of my wellness cleanse and detox programs, I had a woman that came to me. She had terrible arthritic pain in her hands. She was a middle school teacher. And so I had her join my wellness cleanse and detox program, very much like what we do here at EverVital MD. And just seriously, within 72 hours, she had a 90% reduction of pain. And 4 weeks later, she only had to take one of her former pain medications. And this has been, 5 years now. She lost weight. She's still doing so well because she really moved into more of a plant-based eating. And it's a huge form of anti-aging, to be honest with you. So you can absolutely turn your health around and create optimal health by what you are putting in your body. Who do you know that is fighting cancer or has heart disease? It's turned on and driven by inflammation. It's serious and affecting nearly everyone today. Eliminate inflammation, reverse illness, disease by daily health practices. So what are you putting in your body? How are you moving your body, meaning exercise? How are you reducing your overall stress load? What form of meditation are you practicing on a daily basis? You don't have to be good at it. Don't worry about it. Just practice it. Do you have a weekly health plan for a better you to then be able to execute? If we don't write out a plan, we don't have anything to execute. And that is all for this evening. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. I had a wonderful time sharing this information. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, and I hope that you found this information to be number one, very uplifting, and number two, informative and helpful in things that you can do starting tonight before you go to bed to be a better version of you. Wishing you abundant blessings and health every day. Thank you so much. Good night.